Hello my powerful creators, welcome back to my channel. It's been a week since we last talked to each other, so thank you for welcoming me back into your eyes, back into your living room or wherever you are. Thank you for welcoming me. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be back. I've missed you guys, and this week has been a lot. It's been trying, it's been uncomfortable, it's been sad, it's been a lot of mixed feelings for sure, but I'm so thankful that we are doing this together. We're all learning at a different pace, but we're all learning, and that's such a powerful thing to go through. So I'm super happy to be back. I've heard a lot of people say, you know, this has been such a heavy week, but for a lot of Black people, this has been a heavy life. They have done this all their life, including me. We've dealt with racism, discrimination, uncomfortable conversations. You know, I saw this meme the other day. If you're tired of talking about racism, think about the people who have lived in it. But I think this is such a great way to talk, to get deeper with your friends, to get deeper with yourself, to unfold and to unlearn some things. But I've been asked a lot recently how to talk about racism with children, how to talk about being anti-racist and inclusive with children. And the other day I posted great resources on my Instagram about how to talk to your children about being anti-racist and to be inclusive. And so I just would love right now if we could just have a conversation and just talk about it. I have all my notes on my phone, so if I'm looking down, I'm just looking at my phone. So I love you guys so much for letting me, you know, talk about these things, and we have such a strong, open relationship. So let's get started on this video. So as we go through this video, I'm not going to edit it. I just want to talk, and we'll just talk, and you guys get out your notebook and paper, and we'll just talk, okay? So I want to preference this video that I'm not a parent, but I have many years of being a nanny. And as a Black female and being a nanny, and especially in my experience, being a nanny for very wealthy white families, these are conversations I had to have. There was no other choice, and I had to have them with the parents and with the children. So if you're ready to hear my tips, go ahead and hit that like button so I know you're ready to get started, and we'll just talk. So from my research, children know the differences between people at youngest 3 months. They see differences of skin color, they see differences of hair color, eye color, the shape of people. They see those differences. So the worst thing you can do as a parent is not talk about the differences between others and not have those conversations with kids, because they are curious and they will ask questions. So when they do ask questions, don't stray them away from that. Even start these conversations before they start asking questions. And you're going to want to have these conversations early in a child's life, and you want to have them often, and you want them to be honest. So early, often, and honestly. Make sure you have those 3 pivotal things when talking to your child about differences and different cultures. It was so devastating when we saw George Floyd, Mr. Floyd, cry out for his mother. I think that every parent was summoned at that point. Every mother was heartbroken at that moment, because as a mother, you know, and as a parent, you know that feeling when your child is crying out for you. Mommy, I need help. Daddy, I need help. You know, those are pivotal moments in a parent's life when their child needs them. And so when Mr. Floyd cried out for his mom, I felt that, and I'm not even a parent, but I know that experience of a child crying out for me when they need me. So I can just only imagine what a parent felt when seeing that. I know my parents were just heartbroken, and it's very devastating, and it's wrong. It's extremely wrong. So you want to talk to your children about white privilege. You want them to know the privilege of having white skin, having this light skin, the privilege they have just having that skin. But you also want to talk about the privilege of having food on the table, of having drinking water, of having clothes to eat, things like that. Those are all privileges, and your child needs to know what that means. And so describe that to them. Describe them what their privilege means, and how they can use their privilege to help others in need. So, but if you are already feeling right now that you shouldn't talk to your child about it, or you don't feel the need to talk to your child about racism and privilege and things like that, you are showing your privilege right there. Because as a Black female and raised by Black parents, there was no choice other than to talk about racism and privilege and how people would perceive me growing up as a Black female and as my brother as a Black male. There was no other choice but to talk about it. So use this as a pivotal moment as things are happening today. Use this as a pivotal opportunity for you to talk to your child about racism and discrimination and ways they can fight that even as a child. So we don't want our children to be afraid of police, but we do want our children to understand the difference between a very good, safe police officer and a bad police officer who uses their power for evil. So you want to make that very clear, but we don't want to put the fear of police officers, because police officers are there to protect us. But we do want our children to understand what racism is with police brutality and what that means, and how some police use that power to do very bad things. Depending on the child's age, you can say very bad things, or you can say kill. You know, this is what they've done, the bad police officers have done to target the Black community. You also want to talk to your child about the term Black Lives Matter. Now, I've heard this term a lot where people are saying all lives matter. Well, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. So it's kind of like going to a whale convention where they are saving the whales, and someone comes in there and says, well, all animals matter. We know that all animals matter, but the whales need us right now. And so in the same sense, we know that all lives matter, but Black lives need us most right now, because they are targeted and they are discriminated against, and they are frankly being killed. So show that to your child. Let them know the term of Black Lives Matter. Depending on your child's age, again, you want to talk about slavery, segregation, and mass incarceration. So those are the 3 levels of discrimination and 3 levels of ways Black people have been treated. They have been enslaved, they have been segregated, and they now we're in the mass incarceration, where a high percentage are Black males who are being incarcerated. And there is too high of a percentage that these men are innocent. So I think it's very important for parents to showcase that and have that conversation with their child. This all goes down to history and today's world. So the best movie for a parent to watch is 13th, and it's on Netflix, and this will give you a very clear understanding. It will blow your mind away if you haven't watched it, but it definitely will give you a clear understanding of all the 3 ways Blacks have been treated and how they're treated today. I really admire CNN collaborating with Sesame Street the other day and talking about protests and talking about Black Lives Matter. And I loved how and admired how they were so blunt about racism and what is going on today. You can take that same terminology and talk to your children about racism and differences. And also, you can go on YouTube and watch that with your child. It's really important to watch a little bit of clip and pause and to have a conversation with your child, and then keep watching and pause and talk. You know, have that dialogue with your children, because they want to talk about it. They're curious. And so don't think that they're not. So when I was growing up, there was little to no Black history in my history class. My history teacher only talked about Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass. Those were the only two Black pivotal people he talked about. If you wanted to learn Black history, you had to take an elective called African American history. And that was an elective you could take, but it was not a requirement. I know I went to school many years ago, but I pray and hope that today in schools they are talking about Black history. If they are, and if they're not, either way, you still need to bring Black history into your household through books, videos, and like we said before, with the experiential learning. So having experiences that bring in Black history. You need to talk about Madam C.J. Walker. You need to talk about Harriet Tubman, even Oprah and Tyler Perry, even today's icons that happen to be Black. You need to talk about that. There's a new book coming out June 16th, and it's called Antiracist Baby, and this book is going to be so great, and I encourage all of you to what is it called? Order it. Yes, order this book. It's gonna be awesome. It's by Ibram Kendi. Ibram Kendi. Another way, when I was growing up, my family, we were one of few Black families, and I saw a lot of the white families have other people over for dinner parties, things like that, and we were never invited. We always invited people into our home for dinner, but I never saw us, and I asked my mom, she was like, I can't remember, I never saw where our family was invited to another family's home for dinner. So as a nanny, I've seen a lot of dinner parties, I've seen a lot of parties in general, but I never saw the Black families at those parties. As a parent, a child needs to see you have conversations with Black people, invite them into your home. If you see a family at your kid's school, invite them to an event or a party. Children need to see that inclusivity in your life. So do that regularly. And also kids need to see you speak of Black people in their first name basis, especially the people you interact with on a daily basis. If it's like your doctor, your barista, any job, and you see a Black person in that field, get to know them by name, because because children need to see the value of people, and when they see that you know their name, they immediately have this click in their head that they see a value in that person. Make it fun for children. Have trivia games. Learn terminology. And like, for example, who was the first Black female millionaire? Madam C.J. Walker. Have some really fun games with your child. Watch what you say around your child as well. Even if you think they're in the other bedroom and they can't hear you, they can hear you. They can hear you say something that you didn't mean to say about race or other differences, things like that. You need to be careful about how you speak around your children, and that's going to help you to stop speaking in other ways around other people. It's so important. I had a kid that I nannied for, and he told me that I was too Black to be around him. And it's obvious that he heard that from someone, either on television or from his parents. He heard something about being too Black to do something. And so it's very important for a parent to be mindful of what their child is watching, mindful of what the representation they are bringing into their household. Make sure that, you know, you are having these open conversations, because children need to see Black people in a good light. And there are so many amazing examples of Black people doing incredible things. A lot of people don't think that they are racist. They don't believe that they're racist. But there are so many different elements of racism, and a big one that a lot of people have done is implicit biases. And this could be you saying, why is she in the grocery store? Or why is that person walking down my street? You know, and your children hear that. They even feel that energy if you're like, oh, someone I don't know is walking down the street. You need to recognize that and say, you know what? They may live here. I know that there's a house for sale down the street. Maybe they're meeting with someone to see the house, or maybe they bought the house. Maybe they live on the next street and they're just taking a stroll down the street. Make sure you catch your implicit biases. And there's a great program, a great test you can take. It's called Implicit Association Test. And this is online. And you can do this test to figure out what your implicit biases are and how you can shape them into not being implicit biases. And make sure, you know, we have to go inner, we have to go within and shape ourselves. And then you're going to be so much more equipped to have these conversations with your child when you figure out what you've been doing wrong when it comes to racism and biases. So the goal is not to have your child be colorblind. They need to see the value of differences and embrace the differences of other people. So you want to do that, and that's going to bring that respect and kindness for your child. We should not tell your children to not devalue people by just the color of their skin. That the color of their skin is a way to embrace them, is a way to celebrate them, is a way to welcome them into your life. Differences are awesome. Tell that to your child. There's many ways where you can learn more about this, and I found this website. It's called embracerace.com, and this is such a great resource for parents to talk and get information on how to talk to their child about racism and how to develop anti-racist and raise anti-racist and inclusive children. You can donate to Black Girls Who Code. It's an organization, and they help children, Black girls, learn about coding, which is so powerful. It's such a great technology realm of life that is so powerful and equips them to do amazing and great things in this world and get amazing jobs and go to great schools when they know how to code. And it also helps them create, and creating is so powerful. There's another program you can donate to, and it's called Black Youth Project. And Black Youth Project, it helps communities and children develop themselves and uplift themselves and learn and grow, and gives them a pivotal way to do amazing things. Black people don't have the same opportunities as white people, so that's why we need these programs to do well, and we need to protect these programs and donate to them and help them and really just be there for them and bring that power for them, because Black children don't have the same opportunities as white children. So we have to show that support for them. So you're going to want to talk to your child about this early in life, often and honestly, and make it fun, make it a great opportunity and a great experience, because children see what's going on today and they're asking questions. So I hope this video really encourages you all to talk to your children about race, and I really appreciate you watching today's video. I know it's very different from what I usually talk about, but I felt really led to talk about this. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. And I love you all so much. Talk to you soon.